There was these girls that were showing up at all the shows that we went to. They were sort of short in stature, you know, yay high or whatever.
They were small, and so we just named them the Munchkin girls.
You always knew they were there because you would hear "Yay!" after every song.
They were like the scene back then. They were always at every show. Not just our shows, but a lot of everyone's shows.
You know, I mean, some of those shows we played, man, there were, you know, 5 people at, and 4 of them, you know, were the Mulhans, you know, so that was really cool.
Sometimes a lot of people didn't come out, but we made sure that the bands
felt welcome.
Yeah, and
appreciated.
And and knew that they were good.
Yeah.
I mean, you got.
It didn't matter how many tickets they sold, as long as we were there and we'd
get into it
and whistle.
And most of the bands were good, so
they were excellent.
There was 3 of them, and then there was a 4th sister, and she was a little bit older than the others, and we found out that actually the 4th one was their mom.
She was going to college, and there were some people that really got into the scene, and then she started going out to Akron.
Oh, don't do that.
And then after that, we started going out.
They really must have been into the Fall at that time, because they seemed to ask us that quite a bit. Have you ever heard of the Fall?
They were really big music fans. They weren't just there to these shows just to hang out, and that's one thing I really liked about them.
We were just there for, I mean, the music was so much fun. It was such a adrenaline outlet.
Yeah, it was a rush.
They lived in this really nice suburban house in Brook Park with their mother. And this house had absolutely nothing to do with punk rock. You would walk in there and it was the cleanest, nicest, warmest place you had been in days.
My mom would make a huge kettle of spaghetti or sloppy joes.
Yeah.
Everyone would just drink, pig out, crash out.
Yeah, we'd have the crash piles.
Yeah.
They have this big German Shepherd dog. It's called Toby. They're like, oh, Toby, Toby. You know, Toby seemed fairly cool. But then Toby has this like thing in its little brain where it just snaps like that, and it just turns into a vicious killer, and it's like, ah!
Just sitting around, and the dog walked by and just turns on you.
And Toby would prowl the perimeter at night when everyone else had gone to bed, and I'd be all alone on the couch. And I would have to play dead. Well, Toby came up and sniffed me.
And they were always like, oh, Toby, he just has his little spells, he's cool.
No, Toby was retarded. I think it literally really was retarded. He would come up and sniff you and look at you with one eye going this way and one eye that way, and if you smelled okay, he wouldn't bite you, I guess, or something.
I was frightened of that dog, though, let's face it.
I know it happened to, I think, Tim Kelly. I think maybe Joe got bit once.
Toby bit me.
Motherfucker.
True, Bob.
Wow.
Nobody was going to make a big deal about the dog because it would have
They
been
just went out to
uncool.
hang out.
Like, in other words, you know.
They would take what came with the turf.
Right.
I'm sorry that we couldn't have made their song a big hit and maybe given them some royalties.
I remember when Tom Miller first came up and said, how do you feel if I write this song? And I was like, oh, I don't know, as long as it's not offensive. And now when I hear it, I just think, oh, that's totally cool, because that was part of our scene.
Well, it's a great song, and it was a great idea, and it was a great question.
This next one's for the Munchkin chicks. You know who you are.
Another musical question. Why do you hang out?